Good afternoon, and welcome to the Grant Administration Workshop for the Community Arts Impact Grant for 2026 grantees. We are glad you joined us today. We are going to go through some of the key points about administering this grant, and we're going to have plenty of time for questions at the conclusion of the program. So first of all, I want to introduce Kathy Collins, who is the program manager for this grant, and she is going to lead us through the entire grant administration process. Take it away, Kathy.
Thank you, Martine. As Martine said, my name is Kathy Collins, and I am the grant manager for the Community Arts Impact Grant. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to discuss steps to take, hold on a second. Sorry. What we're going to discuss steps that you can take to successfully administer your 2026 Community Arts Impact Grant. If you only take a few things away from today's webinar, let them be this. One, please remember that all the funding that you receive is from taxpayer base. So we all need to be good stewards of the money. The second thing is that all grants from Hillsborough County are reimbursement based. That means that you have to spend the money, keep your documentation, including invoices and receipts, and then make a request for reimbursement through the online system known as Neighborly. So what we're going to do today is go over the steps that you need so that you will all safeguard the funding and get reimbursed for the good works that you do in the community with your programs and events. As I said, this grant is funded through Hillsborough County, and every grant that comes through Hillsborough County requires a grant agreement. You all should have received a packet from me and via email, which included, among other things, your grant agreement. I want you to remember that the grant agreement is your contract. That's the contract between your organization and Hillsborough County. As such, it is imperative that you read it thoroughly and understand all of the sections of the grant agreement. We also have to have a duly authorized representative sign the grant agreement before a witness. Now, some of you may have received in your email a specific instruction with respect to who needs to sign the grant agreement. The county is requiring that an authorized representative be a person who is listed on SunBiz as an officer of the organization. So that is why it may not be the person with whom I necessarily communicate who's going to sign the grant agreement. Just make sure that you get that person to sign it. Or if there is someone that there needs to be a change on SunBiz because the person has stepped off the board, you need to let me know like right away, because we keep that information as part of the documents that we keep with respect to each grant. And finally, grant agreements are not legally binding on anyone until everyone has signed it, and that includes a representative from Hillsborough County. Once the representative signs it from Hillsborough County, you'll receive a copy of the fully executed grant agreement. Now, in addition to the grant agreement, you also will have received a human trafficking affidavit that has to be signed before a notary public. So that, along with the a signed and dated W-9 form, need to be returned to me via email. And then once we get that, all of that, I put it into the system, and then we send you a copy of the signed grant agreement so that you know that you can begin submitting your reimbursements. Now, the grant period is November 1, 2025 to August 15, 2026. Now, while you don't have a signed grant agreement yet, your grant period has begun. You just can't ask for anything that you incur as of November 1 to be reimbursed yet. And as I said earlier, you have to remember that this is a reimbursement-based grant. That simply means you have to spend the money and then you ask for the money to be given back to you. Another thing that is extremely important is that you are only allowed to ask for expenses that you outlined in your grant application narrative and budget. You can also you have up to 5 reimbursements that you can request, and all reimbursements must be done by August 15th of 2026. You don't have to separate them. You can do them in one if you have everything all at one time, or if it's easier, you can separate them and do them in up to 5. Now, you use the Neighborly portal for your application. You will also use Neighborly when you are ready to make your reimbursement request. You'll use the username and the password that you set up when you set up your application. You'll log in, you'll go to your application, and then you will kind of go to the left. There's a tab, and you will scroll down to where you'll see a tab called Reports. When you click on that, you'll come to 2 separate things. There's going to be one thing that says reimbursement request, and one thing says final report. Right now, you're only concerned with the reimbursement request, which brings up what is on the screen right now, a CAIG invoice detail worksheet. This is what you're going to use to put in the information that you have with respect to each one of your reimbursement requests. And remember too, it's not just one bulk, oh, I spent the $5,000. You have to actually outline how you spent the money that you were awarded in this grant. So for example, if you have an art instructor who is teaching a class, you should have the art instructor fill out a timesheet, which would include the art instructor's name, the date that each time that they provide a class or instruction, their rate of pay, and the amount of time that they spend, as well as where the instruction takes place. Then along with that, you would include whatever documentation you have that shows that you paid that person for that activity. So that could be a canceled check. Some people use Venmo or some other Cash App. You would use a receipt. You might have, if you use a check, you would include a bank statement. If within your grant budget you asked for supplies, you'd have to do the same thing. You would have to keep an invoice or a receipt and show how you paid for it, and then show us what it was and what you did with it. If we get something that doesn't look familiar based upon what you had in your budget, I will reach out to you and say, what is this for? Because it doesn't make any sense. So just remember, your reimbursement requests basically have to tell a story. Who the payment was made to, the date the payment was made, and what the purpose of the payment is. So we need to know, and more information is better than less in this case. Think of me as your accountant and you're giving me your shoebox full of receipts. I'd rather get more than I need than not enough, because if once it leaves my desk, it goes to someone who doesn't have access to your application, and they don't know what your project is or what you've done. So we need to give them a packet that shows that this is what was done, this is why it was done, how much it was done, to whom it was paid, and how it was paid. Sorry. So this screen just basically is reiterating what I said a bit ago. It's easier to just keep in mind that you keep everything separate. I was a grantee. I received this grant for a number of years. And what I would do is, for each fiscal year, I would have a very specific folder that included the Hillsborough County grant information. I would keep instructor timesheets, the copies of the checks that I wrote to the instructor. Then I would get from the bank canceled checks. I would keep the bank statements. If you keep everything together, then you're not having to kind of look around for everything, because these are the types of things that we have to show. Now, I keep saying instructor, but you could also be you might have to buy supplies for your project, or you may have to have some sort of copying expenses. Whatever the reimbursement is, or whatever the expense is that you outlined in your budget, is what you're going to be asking for reimbursement on. So you just need to make sure that you keep all of that together, so that you can then turn around and upload it into Neighborly along with your invoice sheet. Now, as I've said several times, you're limited to what you asked for in your grant application, narrative, and budget. Now, sometimes things change. You may have a situation where you find that let's say you're giving classes and that there's a real need for the classes. And so you had budgeted out, just say, for example, $4,000 towards instructors and $1,000 in supplies. If you, for example, maybe get some supplies donated to you, and you want to shift some of the money to the instructors, you can request a grant change request form from me and explain what the change is or why the change is. Now, what you cannot do is you cannot change everything. You can't suddenly say, well, now we're going to paint a mural, or we're going to do something else that you didn't even talk about in your application. It has to be consistent with what you outlined in your application, but it may just be a slight change in something. Maybe you've had a change in leadership and you need to let us know about that as well. Those are all the kinds of things that a grant change request form would be necessary, and it needs to be requested as soon as the change becomes apparent and before you actually engage in the change. So don't assume that we are going to approve that change. You have to ask first, show why, and then we will let you know if it is approved. Now, this logo that you will see to the left is the logo that Hillsborough County requires everyone to use. If for some reason you don't have it can be on a website, it can be on printed material. If for some reason you can't use the logo, there is wording that you can use instead, which is with the support of the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. We just have to give the county recognition. If you don't have the logo, just ask me and we will get it to you from the communications department. If you have the logo if you were a grantee from last year, you can continue to use the same logo. But please make sure that you are in fact giving the county credit for it. These are the kinds of things that we're looking at. If I go on your website and I don't see the county logo there or the text language, I'll contact you and say, why do you not have it on there? I may be looking at the wrong program. And you can tell me that, or you may not have it, and then we need to rectify that. But you need to make sure that you are, in fact, giving the county recognition. Another thing that we want you to do is we want you to promote your organization and the programs or events that you have. So our website and our calendar of events is back up working. So if you have an event that you're going to be able to invite the public to, we would like you to make sure that the event is on the calendar. You can either go on to hillsborougharts.org and sign up. You would get a separate username and password, and then you can go in and you can input the information regarding your event, or you can email it to me and then I will put it in there. If you are an organization that doesn't have, for example, programming that's open to the community. Maybe you only do programming at a specific school, or you work with another organization where you offer classes. You still have to let me know what you're doing, because we need to be able to attend something. We need to see what you're doing. We need to see that the events are actually ongoing. And we also want to make sure that you're using, again, the county logo, or giving the county its recognition for funding your program. So again, just let us know if you need the logo. We'll make sure that it gets sent to you. Now, at the end of the grant period, which runs until August 15th, and remember, one thing, I probably should have said this before, the grant program ends on August 15th, but that also means that your reimbursements have to be in before August 15th. So I would never assume that your programming is going to go until the 15th and then you're going to ask for it. It has to be delivered, and then the request has to be made by August 15th. Now, a final report, which is something separate, which is also found on the reports section, is due by September 30th. Now, in this particular document, we ask for basically, an evaluation of how your program went, who participated, how much did you spend? Did you get additional funding from other sources? We want a candid evaluation of it. We also want examples showing that you gave the county proper credit. And then we also would like to see some quotes, testimonials from people who attended or benefited from your programming. So you can't really start thinking about the final report when it's due. You've got to think about the final report now. You want to capture photos. You want to capture quotes from people throughout the time that you're doing your project or your programming. And remember, photos, quotes, things like that. It's not just for our final report. If you're going to seek funding for an ongoing project or something from other funders, that information that you are capturing from what you do in 2026 is clear evidence of what you've done, and you can use that in other grant requests. And you can use it if you ask for the grant next year in your grant application. So keep this information about, what we're going to be looking for in the final report, maybe in the back of your mind, so that you're capturing this information throughout the entire time that you are engaging in your programming or your event. Now, if you have at any time you have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to contact me either by mail or by phone. I am here to help. And, I may say you didn't do something right, or I need this kind of information, but believe me when I tell you, I am here to advocate for your event, your program, and your organization. So please don't ever think that you're bothering me. No question is too small. There are never too many questions. I will help as much as I possibly can. I know I speak pretty fast, so if anybody has any questions, please let us know and we'll try to answer them at this time. And if you want to ask a question, you can unmute yourself. Lisa, do you see any questions?
I just wonder if the online notarization is okay.
If say what?
The online notarization,
I think Eileen, can you answer that question? Online notary?
Yeah, I think we can accept that. It's
I
still
think you
tough
just
to
have
say
to.
state of Florida, I
Yeah.
think, but you should be able to do it offline.
Okay.
And then Kathy, I see one other question here that says, what if one of our partners or vendors needs to change, but nothing influences the budget?
I would, if on something like that, if you gave a very specific, let's say you said Sarah T is going to be an instructor or somebody's going to do something, just let us know. I can get you a grant request changed so that if it's going to be something where I'm going to be looking at it from a reimbursement standpoint, I'm going to say, who is this person? It might be best just so that we know, and then I can note it within the application itself, so that I won't have to bother you and say, hey, who is this and why are you sending me something for them?
I see another question that says, will you be sharing this presentation via email after the meeting?
Yes, I will.
And then I see somebody raising their hand, so give me just a second. I'm going to try to mute this first. This is odd. I think you guys should be able to unmute yourselves if you want to answer your question. Maybe it already got asked.
I think it might have been the question about the notary, the online notary.
Okay. All right, those are the only questions I see.
Okay.
Okay.
Again, if you have any questions or you think of anything once we get off, does somebody have a
Oh,
question?
wait. Yeah, I see someone other, looks like
Yes.
Renee.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. I was trying to log in into to share the event, and I couldn't figure it out right away. Can I send you the information so maybe you can help me upload it this time, and I'll try to learn it later on?
Yes,
Our
yes, that's
event
not a
is
problem.
coming up, so I think it would be interesting.
Is your event on December 6th or
Yes.
7th?
The
Yeah,
7th,
just send
yes.
it to me. I think I may already have the flyer, but send it again.
Yes.
And then I'll also put it in the newsletter that will go out before the 1st of December.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate
No
it.
problem. And again, don't be intimidated by either the website or anything like that. If you have events or you have something that you want me to put on, just let me know. And remember, you all are grantees. So if you have other things that you want the community to know about, it's not limited necessarily to just the one thing that you're being funded for. If you do other classes and you want the community to know about it, please let us know and we can put those on the website, and they can also go into our newsletter. And if you are a new grantee and you have not already done so, please go online and subscribe so that you get our email, and then you will see it. It comes out at the beginning of each month. And if you have anything that you want to go in the email, just let me know by about, I'd say like the 23rd or the 24th of each month, with the exception of maybe November and December, just because of the holidays. Let me know as soon as you can on that. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah.
Someone is asking.
Sorry, I typed it in the chat, and just in case you didn't see it, this is Dima. I just wanted to ask, where can you subscribe to the emails?
If you go on to hillsborougharts.org, if you go to, I think it's on the landing page, it says like subscribe. And then you just click in that, and I think you just give your email, and then you'll get, we don't send out that many emails, but we do send out emails for things like the newsletter goes out once a month. People who are on there will also get notification like when the grant period's open and things like that.
Okay, thank you.
Any others? Okay, Martine, would you like to close out? You have to unmute your mic.
Thank you all for joining us. If you have any additional questions, just reach out to Kathy. The entire Arts Council staff is there to help you if you ever need anything, but Kathy is your go-to person. So if you have any questions after this meeting, let her know. You've got her email and her phone number, and she will be happy to help you. But thank you for attending. This was a good investment of your time. It should make it easier to manage your grant, and that's what we are hoping. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.